Hello. I know my neighbors are sick of me. Good evening. Hi, James. Welcome in.
Hello.
I am happy to be here, you guys. I actually am here with nothing else to do for the rest of the day, so I am in a great mood. We are here to go over Married at First Sight. For this recap, we are going to be combining the last two episodes. They did do a 4-episode season premiere, which I thought made sense. I enjoyed it. But the episodes we'll go over are episodes 3 and 4, Catching Flights and Feelings and Falling for You. I think now we have a very, very clear idea of who's going to make it and who's not going to make it, like in the long term, not just past the experiment. But let's greet Shani. Welcome in, Shani. I'm happy that you are here. She said, Lisa on Watch What Happens Live again.
Where is Heather and how come she's never been on? Wrong
Heather
show.
is surviving. It's okay. Heather is doing. I feel like Heather may eventually leave or play less of a role on Salt Lake City and do her little surviving Mormonism thingy. Maybe she'll have her Leah Remini moment. Who knows? Who knows? I do want to remind everybody who is here to please check the link in the description of this video. There is a link to subscribe to James's channel, the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. We also have a playlist on my channel with all of the videos that we have done with James. I do want everyone to subscribe just because I am not going to be doing music reactions anymore. My channel will primarily just be podcasts, relationship topics, and going over shows. So I will be on James's channel a lot more. Please subscribe. You don't bite.
Yes, please subscribe. Especially if you guys like to enjoy. Sometimes I do voice impressions, especially on my Bell Collective Live. I'm getting a few comments about people enjoying that. So I will keep it up. I really will. If Mrs. Best promised to stop laughing at me while I'm doing it.
I don't be laughing. I don't be laughing. I chuckle off camera on mute. Salt Lake City did air tonight. I'm sure it's a good episode. They've been giving us a good solid last 3 seasons, including this one. We will be on James's channel tomorrow to go over Salt Lake City.
Yes.
I believe the Mormonism show is coming. Something's airing this week, and I can't remember what. But we will be on James's channel for sure tomorrow.
For your channel or mine?
There's something. I don't know. I have to look. I'm tired.
Yeah, please look, because I know next week there will be the Surviving Mormon, but I don't know what other show is coming.
I don't know.
I don't know, y'all.
Love and Hip Hop Miami next week is coming on BET.
Yes.
That's what it is. November is here already. Fast as hell. Shani said, tell me about these people, twin. I too old to marry someone the first time I meet them. I don't be liking people.
Honestly, y'all, the more I
here though.
There is, Shani. There's like 2 older couples out of the 5. So I think I would do it. If I were single again, I would totally do the show.
I actually think something like this would be perfect for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of why I asked you to do the live. I was like, James would like something like this, but I also think you would be in an experience like that because you're introverted in the right ways, but you're also extroverted in the appropriate ways.
In appropriate ways, yeah. That's what my therapist told me. So it's like, yeah, I'm somebody, realistically, I can love anybody. Like, it's not really too many people on this earth that I don't feel like I could be in a marriage with. I can be in a marriage with just about anybody. No matter where you come from, I'm always someone that can go with the flow. And that can do things the way. All I ask in return is that you like to do things I like to do.
Child. I be trying to ride thy wave, as my husband says, but then he'll also say that I'm slightly neurotic and panic and worry too much. So I try. It's the effort, right? Y'all, let's get into the first episode, which was the Catching Flights and Feelings. This was episode 3. Rhonda and Pat they clearly slept together. We're not gonna get too much into that the first night. And honestly, if you peep game, the older couples, they got to it much quicker because I think they value the time that they have left more. I also think because of wisdom, they know who they are more. They feel more comfort in navigating things a little better. But Brittany and Will are chatting, and it was awkward. And the reason it was awkward is because he seemed so. The beginning of this episode had me feeling like, okay, Will, are you going to be the problem? But then by the end of this episode, I'm not feeling Brittany. We'll get to it later, but I'm looking at her with all types of side eyes. I'm not saying Will doesn't have his faults, because why are you complaining? And he seemed irritated that she was a wild sleeper, which I thought was weird. And then she explains to him, she's like, I don't eat pork. And then he complains about turkey bacon and says it tastes like rubber. And I'm just like, I don't eat pork either, for those who don't know. I have not eaten pork like probably like 14, 15 years. I do not eat. Aside from it not being good for you, like some people don't like turkey bacon. The one thing I do miss about pork is bacon, but turkey bacon does not taste like rubber. I don't know what brand he's been purchasing or how he's been cooking it.
So I noticed with his responses, he has a very calligraph personality. And it makes me wonder, and I'm going to get to it and explain more at the end, but it makes me wonder about his upbringing. It does. It makes me wonder about his upbringing because
he seems opposite of his mom and sister.
Yes.
Like they're not as astute as he tries to.
They're not. And it seems like,
where did you get this from?
It seems like maybe all the pressure was put on him to be a certain way and not on the sibling. Like that's what I'm like. I'm recognizing a lot of parallels between he and I, because I'm somewhat like him. Like
my husband said that when we
yes,
he was like, "This motherfucker remind me of James." I was like,
yes,
what? Like, well, my husband see that, but I couldn't. But now I'm starting to see that.
You see the parallels? Yes.
Especially
I was like,
with how they navigated a difficult time, which we'll get to. He does have.
I don't think I would be. Well, no, I have actually been like that. Okay, let's get to it. We'll explain it more. I'll explain it more, guys.
Shani said, I agree with the sleeping together before they get married. Need to make sure it's not going to be whack. She said, are they going to take all my money? I'll be thinking people are crazy. Honestly, I don't think anything is wrong with worrying. There are a lot of shady people out here. I honestly feel for, and I'm appreciative and grateful and feel blessed to be in my own situation, because it seems very difficult to date. And like when you're in a relationship and watching your friends go through it over the years, like I watched it go from, okay, they was getting dates, figuring it out, to dry spells and up and down, and just the general inventory having a little bit of pee in it. It hasn't. I feel for people. It's hard to date.
It is. It's especially in this, which is why I wouldn't be opposed to this for my own personal life. Like I would not be opposed. Like if Married at First Sight, like let's say me and my current don't work out. If Married at First Sight ever did an LGBT special, or at least considered having one gay couple amongst the 4 straight ones, I would totally audition. I totally would, just because I could do this. I really could. So it's like, they just I have a couple of particulars I need in order for it to work out. And I need them to hear me. Dr. Pepper, I need you to hear me, because I see what you're doing and it ain't working.
Dr. Pepper, in my opinion, should not still be leading this. I know she's been here since the very beginning, but Pepper, to me, doesn't know what she's doing as it relates to matching, which we'll get to later. The pastor can only do so much. He's there for the religious aspect. The sex doctor lady, she's there for the intimacy and stuff like that. But we need somebody else there to really help them with like the communication and just the general,
right. Well,
family therapy aspect, like is necessary. And Pepper.
Well, as I said, I need to see the process of how they select these people. I need to see what tests they give them. I need to see what logics they provide. I need to see a lot more when it comes to them, because I feel like there's no way they should be this off with some of these couples, and we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah, it could also be for TV. But Megan and Derek, they wake up after their first night together. He had a nightmare. Apparently, he woke up screaming and hollering. He says it happens a couple times a year. They did not have sex as of yet. I'm not going to comment on them too much. But that's actually something I experienced when I first got with my husband. I used to have nightmares, and I did not know I had nightmares until I got with him. And he was like, "Hey, are you good?" I'm like, "Oh." So I think if a person can handle nightmares in a calm way, it shows some type of empathy, if that makes sense. Like, she could have been like, "What's wrong with this fool? Are you crazy?" But usually people have nightmares because of some type of trauma or something they've been through. So it was what it was with those two. But I still don't really care for Megan. Now, Josh and Jalen, they have been doing okay. She's preparing for her mom, who's going to be on Married at First Sight as well, who we're going to discuss shortly. She's having her wedding. Before they get to the wedding, I'm going to mute you, James, because your mic's making a bunch of noise. But before we get to the wedding, Josh talks to Jalen and basically makes it clear that he wants a post-nup agreement, a post-nuptial agreement, which I am totally for. I have told my husband this. He here right now. I don't have a problem signing one. I don't think he have a problem signing one. But if it ever gets to a point where I'm making past a certain income bracket, I'm definitely getting a post-nuptial agreement. I think everybody should. Nothing's wrong with it. But he wants to protect his assets because, as we know, he owns his own roofing company. He says he's netting about $500K a year after taxes and all of that, which is a good amount of money. And he wants to protect his asset. Sounds like he also has a business partner whose name is a part of the business. The business partner is married. It sounds like his wife has also signed a post-nuptial agreement. I think that's smart. I don't think anybody's spouse or a divorce should ever impact their business. For instance, James has written a book. The book has been published. If he marries anybody, and I do love the man that he's with now, but if he marries anybody, he should definitely sign a postnuptial agreement because he did that before that person. You should protect what you have. In your case, prenup because you got time. But still, if you were already married, nothing would be wrong with that. So I get it. She took it well. It wasn't a thing. They did have sex after her mom's wedding, but I don't know. At first, I was unsure because he was just so emotional, but they seem to be meshing well with each other, like naturally. So I like them. But James, how'd you feel about Josh and Jalen and Megan and Derek before we move on to Belinda's wedding?
So the post-up thing. Oh, first of all, how do I sound? Sorry about my mic.
No, you're fine. You sound fine.
Okay. So first off, I like the post-up conversation because it is important to protect, what he has. And when he said his business partner had to do it with his wife, I feel like there should be no problem. And she did take it well. And I think she took it well because she comes from money. So for those of y'all who do not know, her father is a professional baseball player, very famous in the early 2000s. And for that, I kind of think that she would understand the whole prospect of protecting, what someone has, especially first. She needs to consider getting one herself because I know she probably has a trust fund or something in her name that she probably wants to protect as well. So something she should look into. What else did we discuss with them? Because you said that you didn't think that they were going to make it at first.
No, I said I felt the way about him at first because he was emotional, but I didn't think they would not make it. The only thing with these two that I still feel like they have is some sort of a trauma bond. But we'll get more into them. I'm actually liking them a lot. Thus far.
I like them a lot as well. And the thing about it is, yes, he does carry that wounded baby bird syndrome. And what people don't know what a wounded baby bird is that it's a bird that was not ready to leave the nest and his mother left the nest already. So directly speaking, everything of action is that the wounded baby bird kind of gets stuck. stuck in their emotions, stuck in their ways, stuck in their place. So that's where that saying comes from. And I think for him, I could see that being sort of a stiff. I'm not saying it's going to be like something that takes on wings and fly on its own, but I definitely see that playing a huge part in a wedge between them two because she's not as emotional and she's not as triggered. And for him, with their dynamics being so different with parents, even though her parents are divorced, it just seems like there was more of a foundation for her than there was for him. And I think that that could play a part in how their future may end up.
I actually can agree with that. We're going to move on to Belinda and what is that man's name?
Chad.
Chad.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to these two. So Belinda is the mom of Jalen. Belinda, y'all, is also actually one moment, y'all, because I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I am ordering dinner. Give me a
No, that's
moment.
okay.
Because I'm
So
going to have to put the phone to my face for the Apple Pay. Do not
no, it's
judge
okay.
me.
I'll describe her while you doing that. So Belinda, y'all, was someone who married her high school sweetheart. She married him at the age of 19. They were married for 20 years. There was a lot of infidelity in her first marriage, and she's been single for the last 8 years, which kind of, you know, led her to get to know who she was and understand who she was because she didn't. She kind of just immediately grew up, got married. That was it. Had 3 children. And, so she's looking for someone that, is sort of at ease with life and not so in catastrophe like her ex-husband. And I can understand that, like, because he came from like a realistically, like being a baseball wife, y'all, that is hard. And for her to last 20 years with the man, it's kind of like it's not that common with an athlete's wife. Like it's not.
You did beautiful. Thank you. He literally explained it how my notes had. He knew. Because he knew.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know you my friend. I work so easy with James, y'all, and I get irritated really quickly. That's why people say I was their supervisor from Hill. But James really got, because he knew that was exactly how he was going to do it. Explain the background, then I love it. How do you feel about Belinda, though? Did you like her in terms of first impressions?
I love Belinda. I think that she may be my favorite out of everybody. I don't necessarily think that her and Chad are my favorite couple, though. Because it's really a toss up between Belinda and Rhonda. Because I love Rhonda, and I can't wait till you get to that part because I love Rhonda.
I can't get me enough of Rhonda. Shani, I'm so sorry. Let me catch your comment. I had missed it. She said you fight somebody in your dreams, twin. I used to. Apparently, I used to. I did not know I had nightmares that bad until that man told me. But I went to therapy and for years, and it actually helps. I don't really have nightmares like that often.
I will never forget one year Vanessa, ex-wife, told me I was having a full-fledged conversation in my sleep. She thought I was on the phone with somebody. Like it was conversation, it was full-fledged, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and she was just going to sleep. And she was like, "Who are you talking to?" And then I didn't respond to her. And so she woke up, she goes, "Who are you on the phone with?" I said, "My phone's over there. What are you talking about?" She goes, "You were full on having a conversation in your sleep." I was like, "Oh, wow." So I actually talk in my sleep.
Oh yeah, people be doing that. My
Mm-hmm.
husband does it. It used to like freak me out, but now I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Sometimes I just nudge the shit out of him or elbow him, and then usually I hear a snore and he stops talking. Anywho, but yeah, Belinda was likable. This is a Married at First Sight first, which is kind of cool to put mom and daughter on here. I actually think this is the appropriate format to have parents and kids dating on a show because they have their own separate thing. Compared to ignorant shows like MILF Manor, I will never forgive TLC for that. But we get in the Chad. He's on his 4th marriage. He said some stuff that to me came off as red flags, and I think James will agree with me. He's been married 3 times. That's red flag 1, 2, and 3. He says that the reason for all of his marriages ending, which I found was a red flag, was because he likes and has a thing for finding folks that need fixing.
Red flag number 2. Keep
That's red
going.
flag number 2. But before we could get to the others, within red flag number 2 is also red flag number 3, because why are you, I understand you know that you find people that need fixing, but you knew this and then you did that 3 times. You still do this and then proceeded to date. I'm confused. I'm very
So,
confused because if you know this, why are you looking for broken people? When you say you look like your marriage is ending because you find people that need fixing, you're taking all the accountability in the marriage ending and putting it on that person.
yep.
You are accountable as well. Because if I, who is not a broken person, go and date and marry someone who is broken, and then our marriage ends because they cannot be fixed, that's on me for getting with the broken person in the first fucking place. So I'm just looking at Chad. I'm like, I don't know. And then he's only been single for 4 years.
So let me kind of also add to what you were saying, because to me, he doesn't want to date anybody on his level. That's what that gave me, is that he doesn't want to date somebody on his level. So he tends to date down to kind of pick himself back up, because it was all about his life, what he can give to a person. It was all about that with him. And usually when you meet people like that, that's because they want to be able to rub it in your face later on of what they do for you, what they can give you, and the life you live is all because of him. And I think it was smart. This is the one time I'm actually going to agree with Dr. Pepper, the pastor, and the sociologist assessment, is that Belinda's not going to be impressed with that. And I don't think you could give her what her ex-husband gave her. So I don't think that logic is going to work with her. That's why I'm glad they actually matched them.
They were, in my opinion, one of the best matches.
Yes.
They were, in my opinion, one of the matches that makes sense, and they prove that opposites attract. They took them a minute, which we'll get to kind of find some similarities. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when watching their wedding, at first I was like, I don't know. He's got hella red flags. She has no experience at all. Like, you married a man at 19, immediately got pregnant, and then pretty much that's it. And then you were single for years. So I was worried. But we get to the wedding day. Right after the wedding, it did seem a little bit awkward. I didn't sense the chemistry. I don't know if I was the only one. They took pictures, and that was like the most awkward moment, because he was. So it's okay to use like comedy to get out of awkward moments. Like, I'm a person like that, where if I'm uncomfortable or feel awkward, I will happily be the person to strike up conversation, make jokes, but within reason. He was like, and she said it was constant jokes. Like, he did not give her a break, which is cool. Like, girls like to laugh. Like, as quiet as it's kept, men, y'all could laugh us your way right into our draws, but you can't make us laugh too much. Like, because then it gets awkward. But things did get better with them. It seems like at the reception they had time to talk some more and get adjusted. This is where you saw that her personality and how she is, not being impressed with the shenanigans he does that seem to normally impress other people, because he's extremely charismatic. That shit didn't mean nothing to her. So James, you're spot on with that. Spot on with that. I like them for each other. He did seem uncomfortable telling her kids, though, that he's been married 3 times. But I did like how she was optimistic and was like, it's going to be fun to see how things go. And he made an effort, and this is what made me say, oh, okay, they might have a shot. He made the effort before they went on their honeymoon to stop and get rings, which I loved. I was like, great, good for y'all. So we get to the honeymoon, y'all, and pretty much everybody's going to meet each other. All of the married couples meet each other, which Married at First Sight usually lets them meet each other. But we get to Brittany and Will. Did you want to add anything else to these people's wedding before we move forward and get into the next?
One thing I will say is that although he was very nervous and was making sarcastic jokes. I like how she didn't allow that to sway her into thinking that's something that was going to be a permanent thing. I think
Gave
she
them
looked at it at
the doubt. Yeah.
yes, and I think that that's very important in these kind of circumstances. To me, and this is another reason why I like Belinda a lot, is because she's not judgmental. She's not. And, a lot of people in her circumstance tend to be. So the fact that she's really going into this with an open mind, open heart, taking collective notes of how he could be, based on what the sister said, based on, all those conversations. I like how she just put that in the back of her mind and just say, okay, I'm just going to allow him to show me these things and we'll see how, this works. So I'm glad that she's open and not closed minded. Like that's kind of because usually most people who've been married as long as she has her first time, they don't usually do this. They go into it with a preconceived notion that I know how this marriage is going to be. I was married for 20 years. You kind of forget in some seldoms that Belinda has been married that long. You kind of forget that.
I actually think of it the opposite. I feel like the people who have been married before often have an easier time sometimes understanding other people's perspective because you have no choice but to do that when you're in a marriage. So even if it doesn't work, I think it helps them. I don't feel like it causes any issue, but I do like that she was open. If anything, I think age is a bigger thing. Just when you're older, I think that they value it more. They put more into it.
Mhm.
The younger couples, if you pay attention to every issue the younger couples had, they were all stupid things, like nitpicking, like tit for tat.
Um,
These guys look and seem like just more open to giving each other a shot
right. I do
stuff
agree with that.
versus the younger couples are like tagging on to these little things that if you
Yeah.
got to know each other, and that's the one negative of the experience, if you got to know each other and dated before just marrying at first sight, probably wouldn't even be a thing to discuss. Like, so that's the only thing I'm like, I don't understand it. For those who don't know, I am a graduate student studying to become a counselor, so it's very odd for me to understand how the experts can like think that something like this could work when there's still certain things that are only a thing because these people just really don't know each other. So it's weird, but that's what makes it fun to talk about. So we'll see.
It does, and I think that as I said, I need to see the syllabus. I need to see A through Z to see how we really assess this because and I'll probably go more into it when we get there, but I'm just gonna kind of say off grip since we're going on the honeymoon. I wouldn't have matched Brittany and Will together, and I wouldn't have matched Derek and Megan together. I
I
actually would have
agree.
switched them. I actually
Yeah.
would have switched them. I would have put Will with Megan, and I would have put Derek with Brittany. I actually would have done that.
I don't think those couples should have matched, but I wouldn't have switched them. I'm going to explain why later, though. But Brittany and Will, they do become intimate, and at the end of episode 3, we see them the following morning waking up, and apparently there was discomfort. Will woke up, he was chilling. He looked like he was fine. Brittany woke up, and she expressed to him that they had a great day, but she wished the night would have ended better. He looked kind of like, okay, but he looked willing to hear it. She said what she said didn't make no fucking sense to me. I'm gonna just let y'all know that's my opinion. But she basically said that she felt like they were becoming intimate, and then she said something about they started to think about if they're taking the proper precautions, which I'm assuming like may have been birth control or condoms, or I don't know what other precautions there would be, but I'm assuming something like that. She says that they began to overthink it so much that he suggested, well, why don't we just slow down? By him suggesting that they slow down and them going to sleep and not continuing on with the intimacy or the intimate moment, she says that this triggered her and ends up mentioning that an ex-boyfriend that she was with broke up with her when things were moving along or moving quickly, and she just seemed really bothered. So that's where this episode ends. I'm going to go into the next episode just to complete what they went through. But before I do that, James, I feel like we felt the same watching that little scene.
We definitely felt the same. Brittany, I don't think you understand this, but I get this is one of those circumstances where she seems socially awkward. And I think that she's in her mind and she's scared. I don't know what happened in your last relationship, Brittany. It sounds like the man bounced after he had sex with you because he got the promise before anything else. And I feel like that's really what it is. You're afraid of giving that man all of you. And I think you use the precautions as a way to kind of pause everything.
I agree with that. I'm just going to go over. So, for the 4th episode, you guys, because of how it was formatted, for those who are OGs and thugs to my channel, I'm going to format it the way that I formatted my Love After Lockup lives. I'm going to just go over what happened entirely the first half of the episode for each couple, and then we'll come back toward the end and go over some more. It was just easier that way for my little... Listen, I'm a case manager. I'm always organizing things, y'all. I'm a weirdo. I did what I could. But Brittany and Will, their struggle irked me, James. It made my teeth itch. I'm not going to lie to you. This couple ends up trying to go past their little discussions. She says she's going to try and have a good day. And I looked at her, and my husband looked at me, and we looked at her on that TV, and we said, oh, so she not going to have a good day.
No, she's not going to have a good day.
You can tell.
She was determined. And see, the thing about it is how you go somewhere that beautiful and determined to have a bad time.
And over something, my thing is, as a woman, I don't see what the problem was. If I am having a moment where I'm panicking, which she said she was, and overthinking the precautions of having sex with a man that I've never met before, right? Like, and the man says to me, well, don't even worry about it. We can just take it slow. I'm not going to be mad at him.
That's not what he wanted her to say. That's not what she wanted him to say. That's the problem.
It's like, you're not always going to get people to say what you want them to say the way you want them to say it or when, and you could tell she struggles with that.
Well, even you can't expect that when the reality is they do not know. He does not know you. He does not know that that's what's going to happen if he says, okay, well, let's just slow it down, because his feeling, what most natural people think when someone says this is too much, this is way too, soon for me. Most people say, okay, well, let's take a pause and we can slow down. We'll take a break. That's what most people do when you're in the dating phase. She took that as
men.
Yeah.
That's the thing. My husband kind of helped me see the perspective of, for the men who are good, not the niggas who ain't shit. If a female expresses discomfort in an intimate moment, that's a matter of consent. You step back and respect that.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? That's actually a very good point, and it should always be that way. So he did the right thing in that moment. But something you saying that's making sense is Brittany clearly is reacting to this man as if she has been with him and known him for some time. And that is not fair.
It's not fair at all. Because let me tell you, not trying to go ahead, but going ahead a little bit, when we get to their end scene, I first thought he was gaslighting her. At first, I was like, oh, okay, you're gaslighting. I see why she's upset. But then when I watched it a second time, I said, oh, no, Brittany, you're playing. And so now I see why he said what he said, because and one thing about him, that's why I say he has a very calligraph. And for those of you guys who don't know it, calligraphy is a form of cursive that is very proper that you use with an ink pen, but it looks extremely organized and correct on paper. That is how his personality is. And when you get somebody like that, you have to be very careful of your words, of your actions, of your dispositions, and also of your physical movement, because they take note, they collect it, and they are very well to put it back into your face because you have given them the ammunition to do so. That is his personality. So I was like, okay, I understand him. So when she does this and when she says, okay, we were too much in our minds, no, his mind was clear. He was letting you lead. And Will, this is where you messed up. You can't let women like that lead because you'll never get to the promise if you allow her to lead, because she's going to turn that off, which is probably what her mom does. Because she said she's never seen her parents kiss, hug, intimate. They're just there. And you have to understand that is her example of woman. So I honestly felt like, okay, I know exactly what I'm looking at. I know exactly what it is.
She also made the comment when we first met her that most of the women in her family are single. I think that that's always something to be careful with. There's a reason. And I'm starting to see some of the reasons that Brittany may be single. Other things I'm starting to see. Brittany said that when she was 19, she entered a relationship that she was in for a couple of years. It was her longest relationship. And then after that, she mentions at some point in the show that she moves quickly in her relationships, which we'll get to in a minute. But all of it is relevant. Brittany had an attitude at the dinner. He tried to compliment her dress in the color orange and all of this. He was trying to make conversation. She complained about there not being enough romantic vibes. She continued to have more of an attitude. He honestly, like, I'm not saying he's perfect, but nobody needs a perfect man. A trying man is everything, though. And that man was trying. He was trying with her, but she just seemed committed to looking for a problem or catching something so she could address it. And this is exactly why, in my opinion, a lot of Black women that I know personally, I love them to death, are single. Nobody should have control in a relationship. I don't have control in my relationship, and my husband don't have control. We talk about everything. Some stuff he may put his foot down on, but it's stuff in areas that we've discussed in our relationship, like that he can take lead and have the final say on, and just like there's things I take lead and have the final say on. So it can be 50-50. It should be 50-50. There may be times it's 60-40 or 70-30 also, but for the most part, it should go both ways. Brittany, to get control, you have to have respect. To get respect, you have to earn it. To earn it, you have to get to know him. And she's skipping a lot of steps. I don't think she sees it. I also feel like she has some type of an ego. It's annoying. It's just very annoying. So he asked a smart question. Well, I thought it was a smart question. So, like, because it kind of was a question that showed her, like, hey, I'm trying. It also was a question that could have given him an answer as to what she wanted. And it was an open-ended question, which forces her to talk. And he asked her what in her previous relationships did she enjoy or appreciate that maybe he could bring to theirs. And her response was that she moves quickly with people. And he was like, huh? Well, what do you mean? She goes, well, I become exclusive with people. Like, we date and talk for a week. And then after that, we're like boyfriend and girlfriend. And then they break up with me. I'm like, huh? So I'm like, if you know this, then why would you continue to get in that cycle of dating people? You see yourself doing these same patterns, but you're not doing anything to break the pattern. So I don't understand that.
Let me interject, because that wasn't answering his question, first off. Because his question...
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. She's not answering the question, but she's also saying some shit that makes no sense.
Right. And I want people to understand, she didn't answer the question, nor did she even pay attention to what he was saying. And it was like, ma'am, he is trying with you to... Not, I don't even think meeting in the middle is the proper way. He is at your front door, literally bringing you gift after gift after gift of gab that he is trying to resonate or maybe find common ground with. So the fact that you said that when you first started dating, you moved too fast, like after a week, you were already exclusive, that actually was telling him that's a red flag about you. Because what it says is you don't want to do the work. That's exactly what that says, is you don't want to do work. You just want the title. And if that's the case, this marriage is never going to work anyway, based on that outlook alone, because you have to do the work, which would explain why you were in your head when it came to being intimate. You want to control the narrative so that way the title only fits you, but it's two of you in a marriage. Like Mrs. Best said, you cannot have that much control.
If you want to have any relationship, this isn't just marriage. This applies to same-sex relationships, trans relationships,
Right.
friendships, relationships with cousins. If you want a relationship with anybody, it has to be 50-50. It just does. No one person can have control unless it's a child or a pet. That shouldn't apply. So, but okay, Brittany, she was just a mess. I didn't like also James that she made a comment to him and to the confessional where she was like, I allowed him to get his point across and to ask me these questions. And I'm like, what do you mean you allowed him? You telling on yourself right there. If you feel you can allow this man to do something, then that means that you feel like you can control this man. The only thing that you could choose to allow your man to do, which you should never allow your man to do, is to cheat or some crazy shit like that.
Or just feel like there's no ordinance.
Right. I'm sick of her, James.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not saying she didn't deserve this opportunity, but what I'm saying is match her with somebody who probably is just as scared as she is.
I don't think she needs to be matched right now. I think she's someone who actually needs a treatment plan. And before she can be matched, she needs to go to therapy.
I agree.
I think there's such thing as being in a space where you need to truly be single and not date and figure yourself out. And she is one of those people who needs to do that. And nothing's wrong with that because she's a great girl. She's a beautiful girl. She's successful, but she's had no real example of really a foundation of a healthy relationship.
Yep.
So she needs to, the only way you can learn that is by just addressing it in therapy. And she tends to make excuses, and your past and your pain and your trauma is never an excuse for your behavior today. You're supposed to overcome it. So she'll see, but we'll come back to them at the end of this episode. The next thing we see is Josh gifting Jalen with the ticket to Burning Man. Burning Man is this little festival thing that they do in the desert. There's no hotels. People be getting high off all sorts of stuff, and there be campfires, Molly, acid, sex, drugs, rock and roll, stuff like that. It's supposed to mean something. I know people who have gone. I know in recent years it's been an interesting event. But Josh is into stuff like that. So he gifted Jalen a ticket. She has no idea what it is. She's confused. When she learned she would be in a tent, she seemed like she would go with the flow, but I could tell she didn't like that idea. And she had a good point. And this is James when I asked him to go camping. If I do not like it, I am stuck in a tent in the middle of nowhere. I think people should consider things like that. If you're not okay with that, yes, consider it. But I do also feel like he warned her appropriately. Like he explained, like, once you're there, like, you're committed. There's no just leaving. But nothing really happened with them as of yet. She did get a new ring while at the top of the Panama Forest looking down at the Panama Canal. So that was nice. They're cute. I don't have anything bad to say. How'd you feel? Do you have anything bad?
I thought that was actually selfish of him to do that. Because we talked about this in the last video. There's some time, and I think it was with Megan with the country music. I think that's what we were discussing, how that was a real problem for her, that he didn't like country music, and how, she just kind of felt like, oh, well, he needs to like it because I always go to this, I always go to that. I'm going to actually apply that to Josh as well. I feel like you needed to have more conversation with her first before buying her a ticket, and maybe understanding what she likes before you spring that upon her, where it makes her more obligated to go versus understanding it more and then making a decision of whether or not that should be something she should do. I feel like forcing her into it by buying her a ticket. I'm not saying she's forced to go, but I'm saying at least explain it to her more and give her the option to say, yeah, I would love to go. Or I don't think that that will be for me. Can we maybe reconsider or maybe go to something similar so maybe I can have a better idea of what it is? Because I didn't know what it
The
was either.
one thing I will say that I have noticed, because you did bring up a very good point, is they looked at monkeys, they went in the forest, they've done everything that he has wanted to do. We've not seen them do much of what she wanted to do.
Right. Yeah.
So, but she seems okay with it. But I'm curious to see how he'll react when it comes time for him to have to do something she's interested in.
Yes.
The other thing too is she had brought up in the confessional, like, if I don't like something, am I going to have to commit to it year after year because he likes it? And I'm like, no. And I can't wait till they get to the point where they sit down with the experts and talk to them in their little sessions and stuff, because I hope that she brings that up, because there are lots of things that my husband likes and does that I don't care for and will not fucking do. And he knows not to ask me to do. And vice versa. You know what I mean? And that's healthy. That's maintaining your own independence and your own self in your relationship,
Right.
which is, nothing's wrong with that. So I hope that she figures that out. But moving forward, Rhonda and Pat, they talking over breakfast. I love me some Rhonda, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I just enjoy Rhonda. But Rhonda was annoyed. And she brought up another point that was good. She said that Pat seemed to only want to talk about himself and did not care to learn more. And I immediately noticed it, and she did too, when she had mentioned when they're trying to get to know each other, she's asking all these questions and he's following up questions with things about himself, which a lot of people do as a way to connect with others. But some people do it too much and don't realize it. And it comes across as like, okay, I get it, but you don't have to keep just talking about yourself and what you've done. So I got that. But here's the difference between the OGs and the youngsters. She immediately, in the moment of being annoyed, respectfully expressed herself in a clear way. She told that man when she was triggered that she was triggered. She told him why. She spoke to him with respect. She did not speak down on him. She made it very clear that she was not criticizing him. She said, we're getting to know each other. So I'm just letting you know that I don't like that. And I want you to have interest in me. And at first he was a little defensive. But when he got defensive, she said, I feel like you're being defensive and I'm not criticizing you, which helped him to hear her. And this is something I'm learning in my marriage after like 10 plus years. And now I'm like, okay, you have to like calm down, because what you're saying is valid and your feelings are always valid. It's just how you communicate them. They both understand that. And you'd be surprised how much of a better reaction you get from people and how much solve you can find in a problem, resolve when you speak to people that way. So, he responded to her and he said, I'm hugely interested in you, and asked what her dream was as a child. And then she went straight into answering the question and was going to give it a shot. And then, he came back because her dream as a child, for whatever reason, was to have a name of Jennifer. And he mentions, boys, we just liked playing with G.I. Joes. Again, he's like, I can't relate to you wanting your name to be Jennifer. So that's what he said. I don't think he's trying to make it about himself. I just don't think he knows how to respond to certain stuff. I also think it's a generational thing. They're from the generation where girls played with dolls and were cooking and baking in easy bake ovens, and boys played with G.I. Joes and they played sports and were outside in the mud. So really, men and women from their generation, they primarily came together for like, baby making, household stuff, like family vacays. But now we've evolved a little more. I think they'll be okay. But she did call him out again. But they did better. They go to the forest. They meditated. They did something that she liked, which was cool. They did share an I love you. I thought it was too soon. At this point, these people have known each other, I think, 48 to 72 hours.
Right.
And we're saying I love you. Um, look, they choking James.
Because here's the thing.
And I'm tired of older people saying this shit because I've heard this from my grandmother who's single and dates. I've heard this from my mother who's older and dates, my dad when he was single and he's 60 plus. Just because y'all older and feel like you have less time, don't mean you got to rush and say shit you don't mean yet. It's been 4 days.
No, here's the thing. I don't think that they meant it in a way that was romantic. I thought they meant it in a way that it was platonic, at least for Rhonda, because Rhonda gives me that she went to therapy and she did the work on herself based on how articulate and how well she was able to communicate her issues with him. Actually, I felt in that banter between them two that actually revealed to me why his marriage did not work. It was that in what itself. To me, it was when men usually do that, it is a form of shrinking women. And I know that it doesn't come off that way, but it is depending on who you are with. And I feel that when he makes things about himself, I think it is a natural habit. I do agree with you on that. I think it's something that the old school generation did do. And I do think that it's a top behavior to kind of connect with people. But I also seen it used as a manipulation tactic as well. And to me, I feel like that is just the tip of the iceberg of things that are going to unravel about him. And I think it starts with that, and then it's going to continue to more things that may reveal itself later on. So I think what she's doing is she's calling it out as she sees it, as a way to say, you could never say, I didn't warn you or I didn't tell you about the things that made me uncomfortable that you are doing. I think it was a way to hold him accountable and making sure that she starts off like that versus not saying anything and letting the snowball effect happen. That's how I looked at it.
That's understandable. I mean, I do think something we can agree on is that Rhonda is intelligent. And I do think that Rhonda's done some work and healed herself. And I think that's why she's so comfortable to be extroverted. And I like seeing that she's not just all fun and games. She gonna ask the hard questions when necessary and go through the motions. So that's a good thing. But I still think he's a red flag. Said it the last live.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll see.
Absolutely is one.
Belinda and Chad, I'm not going to discuss too much. Nothing really happened with them this episode. They were okay. They're doing all right. She did tell him she wants more romance from him, but again, I think it's the same things we said about them communicating at the wedding and stuff. Like, she seems willing to, they're married and they're leaning into the process, but you could tell that this is a couple that's going to be willing to also date each other and get to know each other. She did tell him that. I think they'll make the effort, but we just didn't see enough from them, in my opinion, to comment too much. Did you see anything you wanted to comment on with them?
No, she's doing exactly what I thought she would do based on face value of knowing her. I think that she is moving cautiously into this marriage, especially considering that she's had infidelity in her first marriage and that this is his fourth marriage. I think that she is compartmentalizing, because you could tell she's one of those people that knows how to just compartmentalize and put things in certain pockets just to kind of weigh it out evenly in her mind and then adjust as necessary. That's what she gives me, someone who's always had to adjust. And I think that's what she's doing here too, but she is moving cautiously. So, yeah.
I like her a lot. I didn't
I
know
do
how
too.
I would feel about her at first, but I really like people that take their time with what they do and how they assess and just getting to know others. I really appreciate that with people, because some people, like if anybody of you were to come and meet me in person, it takes a very long time to get to a point where you could get me talking like this in a regular life. So it's nice to see how she moves. Now, Megan and Derek, I don't like Megan, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't. Something about her has rubbed me wrong. I don't know if it's that she's a colorless woman from Texas that has a problem with people who listen to EDM music. Side note, I love EDM. I'm going to be But
She's more like her mother than she
she's
wants to admit.
judgmental.
Yes. I
Yes.
think when she was describing her mother, I kind of took it with a grain of salt. But when I saw this episode, I was like, ma'am, you're more like her than you think.
They're just alike.
You're just
They're
like your
just
mom.
alike.
So the
And
things that you were
she
go ahead.
told him she was very close to her mom. So I see why they
But she
close.
also described her mom in a way that made me feel like you were almost like saying you're nothing like that lady, you're not like this, you're not like that. But when we
She
get to know more of
understands
you,
she understands how her mom's personality is received. I think that's why she says that. But I think she's aware that she can be received that way as well.
I don't think she's aware of that.
I think she's aware of it
I don't
because
think so. I think
you're
she
supposed
knows
to.
certain parts of her personality. I think she's aware of that part. But when it comes to ways, I don't think she's aware.
I feel like she is. I think that's why she kind of warned him about the mom. At first, I was like, maybe it's because the mom is difficult, but then seeing how she is and how they communicated with the date, especially later in the episode, I do think she's aware of how she is. But I also feel like she's extremely uncomfortable with this process for whatever reason, or
Mm.
has something to hide. But I'll explain that a
Yeah,
little
explain.
later.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Derek and Megan talk. They had an interesting conversation. They're both leaders. They talked about how they are at work. A lot of couples don't do this and they need to. Because knowing how your spouse is at work will tell you a lot about them. They're both leaders, but not just leaders. They like to have things their way or the highway when they're at work. So they're not used to having to compromise, is what I heard, which is a red flag for people wanting a relationship in general. But they're talking and he's asking questions. He's trying to extend the conversation, and this bitch ain't had nothing to say. He's like, yeah, what's your favorite color? Red. Do you like turkey? Yep. Enjoying this vacation? Yep. I'm like, damn, bitch, why are you being so short? Like, she was answering questions, but it just did not seem like she wanted to talk. I understand being quiet, but if you're going to be quiet, like, lean into physicality, body language, something. She just seemed really closed off. And at this point, because we're going to come back and talk about them at the end of the episode, but at this point in the episode, I'm like, okay, he's not done anything. He's trying. I know she was eating, but I'm like, ain't nobody that hungry. He was taking them little ass bites of that sausage. Like, a conversation goes both ways.
Right. And it's not like she's not attracted to him because all we
It
got
was
from her is
weird.
the abs. And did you see his abs? Oh my God. So I'm wondering if maybe they didn't have sex yet, right? Because I'm trying to think maybe if the sex was mediocre, maybe that's why she feel that way, or
I think she has something to hide. And I
oh,
also, and that's why I said that earlier. I mean, I'm not an expert or anything, but I am trained in humans a little bit. I think she's hiding something or is worried that something will come out. I also think that combined with the nerves of being married at first sight, I also think she's uncomfortable with the camera because at the end of the episode, when they had a little disagreement, the first thing she did was look at that camera. So I feel like she's too conscientious of what's going on around her and not paying attention enough to the man, and it's causing a problem. But I definitely think she's hiding something because the shit came out of nowhere. But I see why she's single. I wouldn't want to deal with her either. She just seems
I see why
shallow.
she's
The,
single as
Can-
well. Yes.
the Cancun trip every year for your birthday, that's what you have to say at your wedding. And then looking down on him and thinking people that listen to EDC or EDM are just like on drugs and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like,
There's
what
too much
are you gonna
judgment and not enough
right.
compassion.
Exactly.
It's
Like,
like
have stuff her
you
way. I'm like, girl, what next? What
it's
else?
like it's like you lived your life in a bubble and you don't want anything to enter unless you make the room for it. And it's like that's not how that works. I see why she's single as well. I can definitely see it.
And
I
then the
feel like
I look this way because of the Botox and fillers. I'm like, you shallow as fuck, girl. Figure it out, Megan.
Yeah, because to me, I definitely don't see these two lasting, and I definitely feel like to me he's more. I wouldn't say like because I'm not trying to use like the actual terms. I think he's more homey and like really just simple. And I
He's
think
down
she
to
just,
earth.
yeah, he's down to earth. And I think she's just so complex
She's sedity.
that, yeah, it's not going to work. Like they're
Yeah,
going to bump heads on everything because everything with his response to everything was this nervous laugh
yeah.
without even smiling. And it's like,
You
I
could
need you to,
look at him though and see from his face and his body language that he was extremely uncomfortable, and
yeah.
she just did not care. She didn't.
It's sad. It's sad because I want to say she probably does care, but no, she doesn't. Just like, ma'am, you have to do better than this. Like, come on, you have to meet this man halfway with something. Like, I'm not saying like, and to me, once again, this is what happens when you don't prioritize being, or not prioritize, or you don't really have logic to think that you could be with somebody different.
Hmm.
Like, I think that people need to come with the understanding that don't date someone thinking that you're going to have all these similarities and things in common because you might find somebody you're highly attracted to who's the complete opposite of what you are. I have an opposite attract situation. Me and him are into totally two different things in life, or many different things in life. But somehow we kind of compromise and work in the middle of each other, and that's what makes it work. She's not going to compromise at all.
Yeah. She's not willing to. I don't think she was raised to. And that's okay. I also, anybody that works with their family or is extremely close to their family, to me, no shade, red flag dating wise. She works with her family and she says she wants things her way or highway. I don't know. She's weird, but they shouldn't have been matched. I see what the experts were trying to do, but they're a little bit too opposite. I think they dug too deep into him and didn't dig deep enough into her.
Well,
Um,
no, I think they found like their family backgrounds because I think he comes from money just like she does. I think that that's what they were trying to mirror, that they
that's
would
why I
have a lot of
say they
common.
didn't dig deep enough into her because they introduced a lot about him and his background and what was going on with him. We learned a lot. With her family, they focused so hard on that mama because it's still a TV show. I feel like the mom is good TV. She and the mom, they should have been able to pick up on her being a little bit like sedity because you could both come from money. People come from money all the time, but sometimes you come from money and you shallow. Sometimes you come from money and you down to earth. I feel like this was Pepper and them fucking up again, but it's
Yep.
okay, Pepper. I'm gonna give Pepper a pass. All right, I'm gonna give
Well,
her a
so far we had. Well, this is probably better than the last seasons because 3 out of the 5 couples I think are fine. I just
We
think it's
own season 19, and Dr. Pepper herself said they've only had 11 successful couples that's still together. 19 seasons.
oh, I didn't look at it
Like,
like that. Okay,
yeah,
I see.
so they stats is slipping, but it's still good to. I always hope people work out, but I hope these people are able to get annulments. But
Dr.
that's
Pepper,
okay.
you
Pepper.
just need me. You just need me. I will definitely sign a contract and come on as an advisor, and I will definitely help to make sure you really are casting and putting these couples together. I think what she's missing is intellectual. I think she's also missing common similarities because she seems to
What
match
she's
people.
missing is not you. It is not me. She's missing an actual marriage and family therapist, someone who specializes in the study of couples relationships.
We
That
can
she's got
add them. I'm trying to give me a
Christian
check. We can add them to the yeah.
she's got a Christian counselor, but he can only adjust Christians. Then she's got the sexologist, but a lot of these couples at the moments they're having sex, the sexologist is not available to help them. She needs to get somebody that's well versed and well rounded that can like be around them more. I think that's the one missing element of the show because you can't expect people that don't know each other to just be figuring stuff out. Like sometimes they need, especially when you don't
Um,
know someone yet, like a mediator there. But
well, we did have that one couple on the Never Ever Mets that did it out the gate. I
They
mean,
got problems too, based
they
on that.
did later on. Yeah, later on, yeah, they did have problems, but I don't know. I feel like because see, if I come on this show and I marry somebody right away, we have to do that right away. That's something that we
I'm gonna
probably.
just got. It's probably TMI. First time I met my husband, we did sleep together. We still together. I don't know if that made a difference. I had never done that before,
I feel
but
like you have to in this situation.
may as well know what you're gonna be with for the rest of your life.
Yeah, because I need to know. I mean, and if I don't know, you need to teach me, or I need to teach you. It's like I need to know what I'm dealing with here, and that's a very important part. So I feel like I probably would do it before I get to my wedding reception.
That would be smart. Slipping in the
Yeah,
bathroom. But y'all, at the end of the show, all the couples do come together in the group. The men go off in the pool. The women are sitting around talking. Jalen does share her rings. For the most part, I don't want to get into what everyone said. Everyone had a pretty positive take. I think the person who got the most out of it was Derek, who is with Megan, unfortunately. Poor Derek. Derek took the conversation he had with Pat about Pat's experience with Rhonda and how Rhonda felt like he was, talking too much about himself and not asking enough about her. Pat expressed it as like, we were able to solve the problem and it helped me to recognize some things. But this is why you have to be careful to understand that you could talk to other couples, you could reflect, you can get advice from other people, but what works for other people may not work for you and yours. Because every relationship is different. And that's okay. For whatever reason, Derek approached Megan in the ocean about this, where I would feel trapped if someone approached me with a problem in the ocean. Like, I'm gonna be wading in the water my way back to shore to get away from you. Like, or having to swim, paddle my way away from you. Like, that's just a lot. But at least he tried to communicate. Megan immediately said that what Derek approached her about was not true. She said that she was asking him questions. And I'm like, I wish the
when
Bravo producers was here to play back the flashback, because that you was not asking that man no questions and you were short as
you
fuck with him.
right, you gave very one word answers. He had nothing to work off of, and to me, she misunderstood him, which she probably intended to do anyway. He was saying he was trying to level with you, and he was trying to be more communicative as far as like getting to know him and asking him things about his life that you may be interested
So
in.
hold on, because you skipped it ahead. So what he's speaking about, for those who do not know, is when she does get defensive and denies it, and the cameras did not show it. To me, she did pull a poor white woman situation, and she tried to flip it on him and manipulate it by saying, I don't even know what you do for a living. But he explained that at the conversation they had when they met after the wedding.
Right.
So I wish he would have. I got what he was trying to do and de-escalate, right? You don't want to make it a more of a problem, but I wish he would have pointed that out, because I felt like that was important. But I also feel like if he would have pointed it out, it wouldn't have mattered. She gives, I'm gonna cry, poor white woman, and I'm gonna say I feel ambushed, which she did say to the camera. She said that him asking her a question about how he feels and how, which is fair, they're his feelings. How is that you being ambushed? He did not yell. And she looked at the camera when he asked. So I'm like, do you feel ambushed because it's on camera? Because that camera is his safety right now, because he don't know you, bitch. So I don't get it, but I just feel like she's a problem. She says she's going to shut down because of this. I'm starting to see why some of these bitches are single. Brittany and Megan specifically. Brittany's next, but James, I don't think they're going to make it. What you think going to happen?
They're not going to make it, and it's going to be her fault. It's going to be her fault because, to me, and I think the only reason why he didn't throw that, you asked me that and I told you that, is because I don't think no matter what he said, she was going to reason with him or level with him or meet him where he was, with maybe trying to understand why he may feel that way. I think she was going to make this about her and try to make herself a victim. And that's the problem that I had with her right away, because it was like, well, first of all, every little critique about you is not a criticism to your being. It is something that you're not aware of, that he pointed out, and that maybe you should have considered. Like, oh my gosh, I did not know I didn't ask you that, or oh my gosh, I didn't know I didn't answer that. Like, let's do better. That's wanting to be in a situation with somebody and wanting to be understanding. For her to throw that tantrum like she did, and for her to do all of that, shows how immature she really is. And it also shows that she really was not ready for this experience the way she said she was. Because I don't know what you thought you were getting, but any man, no matter how much he's alike with you or how different he could be from you, would probably bring that up to you and say the same thing. I don't think that that was out of touch for him or for you as well.
You read her for filth. I appreciate it.
Well, because to me, it pisses me off when people do that. It's like y'all both are in a unrealistic situation. The worst thing you could do in an unrealistic situation is sit there and try to penalize someone for trying to do what they're supposed to do, which is get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing you could do.
And to get to know, you have to ask questions back. It's giving pretty privilege.
It
And
is.
I'm not gonna lie, I have actually gone through this prior to my husband with dudes. I went through a dry spell before I met him, because you get used to like, oh, okay, you want to date me, whatever. I'm gonna just one question, one answer, whatever the hell, buy me a drink, pay my phone bill, do what you gotta do. But that's not good. And I feel like she's so used to men doing all the work or gawking after her and all these things, that I also feel like a part of her may not be used to asking questions about other people, because she just, I'm sorry to go back to the shallowness, but she seems shallow enough that she's like, I do this, I look this way, I live my life, I'm successful, so he needs to do this and that. And she just doesn't seem like someone that wants to put in the work.
Let me explain something. Nothing is that self-explanatory without caution signs and warnings. So for you to sit there and actually think that that's what's going to happen here, ma'am, I don't know how you were raised, but that is so illogical.
I have a feeling her mom, and I said this when we met her mom, I have a feeling that her mom, who's been married for 40 something years, gets everything she wants. She's married to a yes man. And Megan has probably seen that. And that's probably what she is expecting from a man. I don't know, but we gonna move forward from these people.
Okay, well, I won't. Yeah, because Megan, this is not the Flintstones. Your mama may be Wilma, but you are not Pebbles. So you need to cut this out and be more realistic. Because at the end of the day, you signed up to be on a show that is called Married at First Sight. So you need to cut all that out, because that's not right.
Because that shutting down shit,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all, that's how marriage is in. When you shut down and people sleep in the next room, I think the one piece of true public advice on marriage that does work is it's really not good to go to bed angry. Like, try to have resolve of some sort. Take space, but take healthy space. Her shutting down, refusing to communicate as a whole. When that girl laid down on that damn paddle boat thing, I was irritated. But now we gotta talk more shit, y'all, about Brittany and Will. So these Negroes at dinner. And Brittany says that she wants to dive deep. He says that he doesn't mind it. And Brittany says that she feels like she's been diving deep and he hasn't. And he said no. I was like, that's right, Will. That's right. Stand up for yourself, brother. Because the bitch has been tripping. I'm sorry. She has. She has. And he tells Brittany that she does not ask him questions, which I thought was bullshit. I said, okay, Will, I was rooting for you, but you lost me. You should have expressed yourself better, because she has been asking you questions. What you should have said to Brittany is that whenever you ask her a question, she deflects by asking you a question that has nothing to do with the question that you had originally asked. So He didn't express it right, but I get it because he doesn't know her. Um, he says that he feels he's been more intentional, which is true. Brittany does respond. She pretty much says, I don't care to know and don't care to ask what your favorite color is or what your favorite book is. All I care to know is how to be a good wife or what you want in a wife. When I say me and my husband looked at each other and laughed and said some not nice things about her, because let me tell you this, if you want to be a good wife, you need to know his favorite book. You need to know his favorite pair of shoes. You need to know his favorite meal. You need to know his favorite place to go, his dreams, his favorite place to go chill. You need to know who he gonna turn to when no one else can find him. You need to know a lot. And to be a husband, it's the same. So Brittany is just like, I don't care about any of that. She's a bitch that wants the title but not to do the work. That's what I'm starting to see.
And I called that. I
No,
said it early in this. I said earlier in this live. I said she wants the title of being a wife, but she doesn't want to do the work to get there. And you are absolutely correct. Knowing his favorite color, which was pink, by the way, and honestly, that was a red flag for me. But knowing that you know his favorite color, you're gonna have one day you're gonna have to throw him a birthday party. You know, which should be important. One day you're going to have to maybe one day talk about children. What color are you going to paint the nursery? Like these things come up. And for me, as I said, this is more trauma than anything. You are so scared based on how your parents are married today that you don't realize you're doing the exact same thing. You don't realize that you're shutting down in the exact same way where there can't be any chemistry between you romantically because you are in your head wanting it to go a certain way so that it pleases you. But there are two of you in this marriage.
she's also choosing negativity and choosing to fight and battle instead of choosing to try and just have a good day. Like if you really feel a way and want to see if he's going to be the man for you or is going to make the next step, shut the fuck up and try and be nice to him and see if, you know, you'll be
See,
received well. Do something other than what you're doing now. But to tell that man, I don't care what your favorite color is. I don't care to learn or ask about your favorite book or anything that's important to you. All I care about is to be a wife, shows that she should not be on this show. She should not be married or in a relationship. She has a lot of growth to do. She should not
I
be with anybody.
I know Brittany's gonna watch this live and say, "What should she do?" And I said, "Brittany, the best response you should have did was says, well, come on, let's go take a shower and let's be physical for a minute."
Because that's
Because
the other thing that it's got to be.
yeah,
Maybe she really wanted that dick, but was trying to be safe. Girl, if you go sit on top of something, wake him up in the right way. Do something if you want it, but stop this.
yes. Because like to me, I would have tried to be physical because obviously intellectually and mental ain't working. So the only other thing to do is be physical. And that's what sometimes you gotta have to break those suckers down when you're in a relationship and you gotta start thinking, okay, this ain't working, this ain't work. Okay, the only other thing we can do is be physical right now. And maybe that will work its way to wanting to know more about him when he's entered you because then maybe your mind will find more curiosity to want to do that again, but do it in a different way. I don't know. I'm trying to
I
help
feel
the
like
lady.
she
I really
dating
am.
drugs too. She keep blaming stuff on and then they disappear. And I'm
You think
thinking,
that's what it is? She dating Ducks.
I feel like she want the nigga to grab her by the neck and be like, "Stop tripping," and just throw her in the bed. She want him to throw her in the bed and
Oh,
eat her the way Jody ate Yvette in Baby Boy. That's what it seems she want. Because I'm like,
baby.
he's polite, he's handsome, he's trying, he's being patient, and he's not really done anything. And if you go back to what's upset her, she was mad that they could not finish fucking. That's what it seems like she was mad about. I'm telling y'all right now, do not think that it's only men that be out here tripping when they not getting none. Women will trip out too. And I feel
But
like she's
see,
with that.
Yeah,
I
because
do.
I thought that too. But the thing about it is, you have the full control of that. So if you
But she's
understand it,
immature. She's only had one real relationship. I feel like she's dating girls who
yeah.
is the equivalent of dating teenage boys. Like they may look good, they may fuck you right, but you're essentially dating an 18-year-old forever.
So
I
then I
don't
don't
feel
know
like it's
why.
allowed her to grow and like mature because he did not do
Then why
nothing to
sign
her.
up for a show like this if your expectation? Because what did you think you were going to end up with? Because mind you, you don't get to see that. So I'm
That's
trying to figure
why
out
she
what are
doesn't
you?
need to date. She needs to go to therapy. I don't think she knows what
Yeah.
she wants. I don't think she even knows her type. She needs to go figure some stuff out.
Y'all,
But
let me
we'll
explain
see.
something to y'all. For those of y'all who want to sign up for this show, there should only be two things realistically you should be aware of. You are getting married and you should have physical attraction. That's all you need to worry about on the first day until you get to know more about them. Is that I hope you are physically attracted to the person and understand you are marrying first and then dating next. So those are the two things you have to understand and gravitate to. Now, as far as attraction, I don't think they get that part wrong. I don't think they get that part wrong at all. But y'all have to understand that's the only thing you should be worried about if you're going into this is physical attraction and knowing that you're marrying them and then dating them afterwards. That's the only thing you need to understand.
Essentially, though, these two they don't make peace. He got tired of her. They ended up going tit for tat. It was problematic. Um, I don't think they're going to last in the long run, but I'm curious to see how it plays out. I think they'll provide us lots of entertainment. But I appreciate y'all. It's a new show. People are starting to watch. I hope that my regular subscribers share the video, like the video. Feel free to leave a comment if you would like to further the chat after this live. Married at First Sight is on Peacock now. You can watch Peacock through Amazon Prime. You can also watch Peacock through Peacock. You can also watch it through Hulu, I believe. The show airs on Thursday, so I'll be back for episode 5 on Friday. The next time we'll be live will be on James's channel to go over the Housewives of Salt Lake City tomorrow. But I have not eaten today. I am tired, y'all. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, James, for being here. We will see you guys tomorrow on James's channel. Link in description. Good night.
I